So here we go, it's the beginning of the week and we are getting set for the Champions League match day 3. It's Celtic away to Red Bull Leipzig, and having been a Leipzig, I'm just going to say supporter for the last 4 or 5 years, going into this game as a Celtic fan, born and bred, I know exactly how this game is pretty much going to go in terms of what each team's going to bring to the party, and I thought I would take this opportunity to kind of lay it out there, get the tactics board up, have a look at the expected starting 11s, and just when I see the potential makings and breakings of this game for both teams in essence. At any point in the video today, if you do laugh, you learn, you like something or whatever, please do like and subscribe, share and retweet, all that good stuff. Stay out of trouble, and let's get stuck into it. Now, this kind of picture here is probably the worry of Celtic fans across the world going into the Champions League match on Wednesday night. And without Starfelt, without Carter Vickers playing out from the back, as well as any other defensive situation in the match, becomes even more fearful with Red Bull Leipzig currently lining up with a forward 4 of Szoboszlai and Nkunku, Werner and Andre Silva. Those 4 guys get full reign to go across and really press any team's defensive line trying to play out from the back, and the quality all 4 of these guys possess, there is no room for error. But Red Bull will make calculated risks, particularly if David Raum does start over Hülsenberg. This guy's basically a left winger, and potentially this is going to be their main side of attack along with Timo Werner, allowing guys like Nkunku to almost become a second forward like we've seen O'Reilly do for Celtic, as well as allowing Szoboszlai to come into the play as well from the far side. Red Bull football is all about creating errors, and they're going to take great joy in trying to press in little 4v4 situations in our defensive third, and they are going to ask a lot of questions of our ability to stay composed and play out from the back. But if we are able to stay really switched on, this is a great attack method for us, and it's something that we are well built to execute. Leipzig will be aware of this, but if we are able to play out of these 4v4 little box situations that arise, the engine and the work rate of Daizen Maeda to go up and down the line for a full match with guys like Werner and Raum to help and support Josip Juranovic on this side of the pitch, as well as Jota's skill, guile and overall elite quality that he has to take on a big right back like Simikan, backed up by Orban on this side here, with Kyoso also running an absolute marathon across that front line. If we can play out from the back well enough in these situations where Leipzig are going to try and force errors for their own advantage, we can expose areas of the pitch where they will make gambles, they will leave space, they will open things up. And with the front 3 we have, if we can rely on the players we've got and the guys we've got in the team can actually step up, then between guys like O'Reilly, McGregor and Rio, all 3 of them are able to pick that killer pass that can open a game up and get us out on the other side. Best opportunities we're going to have in the match is the opportunities we get to release Jota into space and really putting Leipzig on the back pedal where we can really go and counter-attack them. Unfortunately, this is also going to be potentially our biggest threat in the match as well, because one thing that Leipzig are very capable of is killing teams on transition, because as much as they allow that front 4 to go on and press, they also put a lot of pressure and a lot of responsibility on basically the back 6 to resolve a lot of defensive headaches, which then allows guys like Werner and Nkunku and Szoboszlai to pick up pockets where we have exposed ourselves, similar to what we just seen Leipzig potentially could do in that mirror image. And that is where the game is going to be won and lost. Those transitions where an attack does break down, maybe the goal doesn't come, maybe it's a goal kick, maybe you lose possession and it turns over, because Leipzig, as much as we are capable of doing so, they are as well. Guys like Campo, Nkunku, Werner, Galassi, Orban were all present in the Leipzig team that recently got to the Champions League semi-final. So that spine, along with guys like Szoboszlai, Simikan, Guardiola, Raum, elite young guys breaking through in the game, this is their big moment where they sniff the opportunities. Once we've lost the ball, we've maybe tried to build up some play on one side of the box. They've managed to get in and press it out. We've managed to, turn the ball over. We've lost possession very quickly. These guys can unlock us, and they can unlock and counter-attack very quickly, very easily. And again, the freedom that these 3 guys are going to get, Nkunku, Szoboszlai and Werner, is going to dictate a lot of how this game is won and lost, in terms of these guys are suspect for us getting space off the back of their attacking threat and the gambles that they take, but equally they've got the ability, the pace and the cohesion to really kill us on the counter-attack, really kill us on the break. I think there's a lot of potential in this match for us to see a real fantastic, like elite Champions League level performance from Rio Hatate and Matt O'Reilly. They're direct duels of Kevin Campbell and Javier Schlager. I think, to be honest with you, Rio and O'Reilly are going to have their number. I think both these guys are very capable. They're both very good midfielders, and they're both very effective in this shape. But I think the tempo that both these guys have and the actual pace in their legs is actually going to eat right into Matt O'Reilly's hands. I think he's just as strong as both these guys. And I think in a race, I don't think, O'Reilly would really lose against any of these guys. Of course, Rio is definitely much more mobile than any of these guys. And he's got the tenacity to get right in amongst them and start nipping their heels to force those mistakes for ourselves so we can win the ball, turn it over, and try and look for guys like Kyogo and Jota on the transition. But I'm really looking forward to, in this match, seeing O'Reilly against Schlager and Campbell, seeing Rio against Schlager and Campbell as well, and seeing how these two really measure up against like a top-end Bundesliga midfield. And I think, compared to the Real Madrid game and compared to some other matches we've had, this is actually a matchup in so many ways that could work out so well for Ange Postecoglou and the boys. The way we close out space with inverted fullbacks is potentially a little bit risky in this match because it might open up some wide spaces for Leipzig to turn the ball over and try and expose us. But what it also does give us is it gives us real solidarity. As you're counter-attacking as a team, the number one principle is protect the box, protect the goal line. So if we are getting counter-attacked on, through the wide spaces that we leave in the wings, as long as we do have a good central kind of resistance to stop the ball coming into the middle where these guys can pick it up in space and play one-on-one with the last man defender, maybe take a shot at goal, that kind of thing, then I'm not too concerned about potentially leaving some of those spaces up if, like I say, we can make that kind of central area nice and solid and difficult to play in, because again, that then gives us the opportunity to step into these areas, turn the ball over, and again, if they do overcommit trying to catch us on the break, again, we're going to see potentially a lot of back and forth happen in this match that will pivot through transition. Now, even though the back four of Simican, Orban, Guardiol and Rom is worth hundreds, probably of millions of pounds, it's definitely not a defence I'm terribly scared of when it comes to having forwards in our team of guys like Jota, Kyogo, Maeda, even Abada and Giakoumakis when we get into the bench later on. I think, the talent in number two, the interplay and the ability to swap sides that our wingers have is going to cause them a lot of problems in a lot of different ways. And I'm really excited to see, particularly in the first 20 minutes, how fired up these guys are and the opportunities that they can create by interlinking with each other, maybe even doubling up on a wing for 5 minutes and just causing extra overload to try and just force something to happen quite early in the match before we go back into kind of normal play, if that makes sense. And the bench is going to make a big difference in this match because we have a much bigger array of depth on our bench. Fair enough, we've got some fitness concerns at the moment than Leipzig do. Leipzig's bench actual head count is very small in the Bundesliga, and actual nominated, like, regular first-team football players, there's not too many of them, and some of the ones that are substandard, guys like Yusuf Poulsen. Emil Forsberg is, of course, very useful, but he's not overly mobile. He's one of these kind of technically gifted attacking players that Leipzig call upon. But defensively, there's not much else going on, so if these guys get booked or get injured, there's not much else behind them in terms of depth, particularly central defence. And in midfield, there's no one really on their bench that can upgrade what they already have at the moment. So I'm expecting this to be also a bit of a game of attrition where we're going to see lots of transitions. I expect to see lots of shots on goal, but I'm also expecting to see the bench make a huge impact on the final result of this match. For example, I could see O'Reilly and Maeda being the first couple of substitutions to see the introduction of Haksabanovic in this kind of attacking midfield role, false forward that O'Reilly does, as well as having Abada, that extra injection of pace down our right-hand side to cause Rom or Hausenberg, depending on who starts the game, a world of problems throughout the second half. On top of that, I would expect to see Kyogo maybe get more than the 60 minutes, but when we do see Big Gorgeous George, Giakoumakis actually enter the fray, again, guys like Guardiol and Orban will fancy their chances physically going up against Giakoumakis, but him coming on in the final 10, 20 minutes or whatever, when we're getting fresh legs on the pitch, maybe we're still in the game, we're really pushing for 3 points, we're trying to turn the game from being a tie into a victory, then I could definitely see him having the run on these guys in terms of being sharp and being like a big bull in a china shop and crashing some stuff in. So I think our bench could be a huge factor in who actually wins this game or how the result actually fares overall, because I just see us having much more there better than what Leipzig do. But again, it cannot be understated, the threat of Nkunku down any part of this forward line here, because he will have freedom to roam around in space and just be free to receive the ball from Schlager, to receive the ball from Campbell. That's what these guys are really good at. You will watch them and think these guys are not that amazing at football, but you know what they're amazing at doing is getting the ball from their defence, winning the ball back from the opposition, and knowing and having the ability to execute the pass that is required to release their team out to go and spring a counter-attack. So we have to keep our wits about us no matter what the score. This game could very easily be 3 each. It's never going to be 0-0. It could be 5-4 to Celtic. It could be absolutely anything. Could be 8-2 to, it could be anything at all. It's one of those games that is going to be punch for punch. It's going to be all about the transition, and I think like for 90 minutes it is going to be a real whirlwind affair. Be sure to let me know your expectations on Celtic versus Leipzig in the comment section down below. I hope you've enjoyed this one. Do not forget to like, subscribe, share and retweet and all that good stuff. Stay out of trouble, and we'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.